score never changes.
Welcome back to Retro Rebound. In today's video, finally, it is time. There is no better time to be talking about Fallout 3 than right here, right now, because in today's video, we are going back to a top 3 favorite of all time for yours truly. Only 2 games have surpassed Fallout 3 in these 2 eyes of mine, those being KOTOR 1 and KOTOR 2. Otherwise, yeah, Fallout 3 sits fittingly in the number 3 slot for my favorite games of all time. The atmosphere, the music, the fact that there's literally nothing like Fallout. VATS, exploration, unique loot, the juicy, tantalizing, addictive lore that I just can't learn enough about. The amount of developers this series has been passed around to, my gosh, I mean, even professional memories attached to Fallout 3. There's just so much that goes into this game, into the whole Fallout franchise. It absolutely is my favorite in gaming. That counts, right? Because Star Wars is like an entertainment brand. Like you got movies, TV shows, or so just gaming would be Fallout. That works, right? Nonetheless, we've been wanting to do an individual deep dive on this game for a long while, and there's no better time than right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's not delay any further. If you are new here and you're into nostalgic and retrospective content, you're in the right place. Please consider subscribing. Let's start off at the top, as always, with personal stories. There's one that's more professional and one that just really spotlights my immaturity. I'm debating what I want you to hear first, but I'm gonna go with the funny one, which is me being extremely immature. So, first time I played Fallout 3, right? I see this E3 demo, it's Todd Howard on stage, and I'm thinking to myself, hey, cool first-person shooter, it's post-apocalyptic. Yeah, I could get down with that. All right, I'm gonna pick this one up. I buy it, I play it, I don't like it at all. I sell it off. I'm absolutely angry at Bethesda. How after Oblivion could you treat me like this? I feel so hurt on the inside, yada, yada, yada. A year or two goes on, and then a buddy of mine's talking to me in 8th grade, and he goes, hey, you gotta check out Fallout 3. And I go, dude, beat you to it. And guess what? That game sucks. And he tells me, no, I've been playing the Game of the Year edition with all the DLC, and Maddie, it's actually really good. Try it again. In fact, it's on me, dude. Here, I'll lend you my copy. I'll bring it to school tomorrow. Okay, look, I don't have any money, so if you insist, please, by all means. So that copy is served up fresh to me, stuff it in the backpack, go home later that day. I'm like, all right, let's check out this pile of go. Oh my God, I love this thing. This is an amazing video game. So yes, the story is, you already know it. I fall in love with Fallout 3 at this point in time. Now, Fallout 3 is known to have a karma system. You have your good karma and your bad karma, right? Maddie, at this point in his life, was making bad karma decisions. So what is my bad karma decision? It's time for me to return the copy. Do I do that? Absolutely not. I continue to play it. I lie my ass off, and then eventually I trade in the game when I'm done with it and take money from it and buy other games. And then eventually I did right by the guy and gave him his money back and then some. But for God's sakes, I feel so horrible about it to this day that Fallout 3 was one of the best things that ever happened to me. And when it was first forced into my lap, I betrayed the very person who gave me one of my favorite games of all time. How do I do that? I swear I don't do that nowadays. I promise. I'm a better person. I've learned from my mistakes. I'm so deeply sorry. So that's the funny one. And then obviously on a more serious professional level, for those who don't track my other YouTube channels, I run another one, which is a little bit bigger than this channel, called Mr. Matty Plays. And there we focus more on modern gaming, in particular, some of my favorite RPGs, like the BioWare games, Bethesda Game Studios games, and my bread and butter really is Bethesda Game Studios. Even as I've diversified my content for many years at this point in time, I am still known as the Fallout guy or the Bethesda boy. All these alliterations I seem to have attached to my name, but they all have to do with Fallout, because many people know through my blow up with Fallout 4 that I was very much a young kid, absolutely obsessed with the franchise, and just reacted to everything. They announced a new collectible, I made a video about it. And so there you go. That was the story of Maddie. And so Fallout is a franchise I hold near and dear to my heart, because without all of the coverage I did of that franchise, going from fanboy to fair, fun critic, I guess I would put it, I just built a whole career off the back of this franchise, frankly. I don't ever take that for granted and say, oh, it was all me. People just love me. It's like, no, I think we all loved Fallout, and then we started to love different games as well, and then maybe you ended up kind of liking me and went, hey, this guy's not too bad. Let's check out some of his other stuff. And that's why I love to open these videos like this. I feel we all see so many videos online talking about, oh yeah, here's the story of Fallout 3. Here's a harsh critique of every little nook and cranny of it. You know, I can too read the Wikipedia online and give a reassessment of the story. Yay, content. For me, I think the stories that we get to tell about the ways we engaged with things we love is what makes gaming so special, because there's a intimate connection, if you will, with it. And there's one no stronger I have personally than with Fallout, because of all it's given me for my career. Like, again, I wouldn't be able to have opened up this channel if Fallout didn't help me build another channel and then allowed me to diversify afterwards and then branch out to something here where this is like my favorite thing to do every week. So yeah, cool full circle moment, but enough about moi. Let's talk about the game. So Fallout 3, I was one of those idiots growing up where I thought, oh, this is the first entry in the franchise. I don't know why it's called 3, but this is definitely the first game in the series, because I proceeded to, after beating Fallout 3, look up Fallout 1 and 2 and see these games and go, well, that's not Fallout. I don't know what that is. That's definitely not Fallout though. I'm all about the organic approach, right? So I'm not talking about my diet, although I do eat mostly organic when I can. But anyway, I do think about what is the first thing that comes to mind when I think of my favorite games, because that natural first instinct that comes to mind is likely what made you fall so deeply in love with it in the first place, right? And so for me, it's the introduction of the game. I have this customized special book that literally has Mr. Matty Plays on the back. A viewer during the Fallout 4 hype cycle actually made this for me. And like, yes, on the inside here, you can see all of the pages. It's indeed the special book, and it's one of my favorite collectibles ever. And so I think of that intro all the time. I just love the way the time passes and how it moves so quickly, you know, fast enough where you don't feel trapped in Vault 101, but at the same time allowing you to build your character in unique ways, you know, taking things like the GOAT exam, standing up to Butch of the Tunnel Snakes, all the memes that have come out of Vault 101, taking my BB gun, maybe opening fire a little bit on nearby scientists if I'm really feeling spicy. Of course, the fall of Vault 101. And then nowadays, knowing that there are side quests that bring you back to Vault 101, and it's pretty tragic how things end up. It's not like you leave and, hey, let's gather together, let's do things right, let's do things together here. Everyone hates one another. There's a lot of death, a lot of fear in there. It is the perfect intro in video games, not just because of all of those elements, but also because when you have the iconic step out moment, you are greeted by the greatest vista in all of gaming, maybe next to Breath of the Wild, where you step out and you are greeted by the entire open world. Everything in front of you, you can go to and explore. And I cannot overstate when you first fall in love with Fallout 3 all those years ago, when nowadays we hear about limitless gaming, endless games, it's all these games are about. But back then, seeing how boundless Fallout 3 was absolutely incredible. Just to look in the distance and go, I can go to the capital. I can. And that only resonates when you go back for a second playthrough. You have that step out moment again and go, oh my God, I was there. That's crazy. Then Bethesda Game Studios really became known for that, right? With Skyrim in particular. You see that mountain? You can climb it. Iconic Todd Howard quote. That intro is always the first thing that comes to mind for me with Fallout 3. It is absolutely brilliant. It's just a perfect storm. I don't know if Bethesda sat down and said, let's make an iconic intro. It's just the way everything played out. The music, the attachment to your family, the setup of the main plot, the way you exit the vault. It's perfect. So now you're in this open world and you're greeted by one of the most unique universes in all of gaming. You have this Americana patriotism, national pride attached to a completely depraved and destroyed world. The first places you can go to that are major locations nearby are a plane that has crashed, that has been turned into a town that has a nuke in the middle of it, and an elementary school that houses raiders with body parts hanging from the ceiling. You immediately get this picture of, well, outside of the fact that everything's destroyed, wow, this world is awful. But yet you hear John Henry Eden and his patriotic speeches over the radio. You hear this music that you just gotta snap your fingers and tap your foot to over the radio. And you're like, why is this game a bop? Everything here is awful. And that is what is special about Fallout. It's a culmination of elements that make zero sense together, though thematically it's all in tune. And that's why I always say that the best games are guided by their theme. When everything is tied to the specific theme, that's why the 50s music that's a complete bop works with the Americana, pride, and the patriotism and the wackiness of the world, because it's kind of just ignoring the problems that are very present in the current moment. And you, as the lone wanderer, are now going to go out and solve a lot of those. So the main story involves chasing down your dad, who has left Vault 101. You learn about Project Purity, but this main quest has some of the most iconic moments in all of the Fallout franchise. My personal favorite being Tranquility Lane. I would kill for another Fallout game to just go a little crazy like Tranquility Lane does. Not only do you get these really interesting interactions, but the multiple ways you can shut down this simulation, including initiating an invasion that destroys the entire town. Like, it's unbelievable, and that's a completely hidden option, might I add. That's something that until many years ago, I had just learned about for the first time. There are so many secrets packed away into Fallout 3, and that's just one of them. But I think the main story, while I don't play Fallout for like super compelling characters, I do love this story, authentically so. I think the idea of a purifying water program for an otherwise destroyed world is one of the many things that compels you forward in this game. The only problem was, originally at launch, you kind of didn't want to go forward. Why was that? Because broken steel wasn't a thing at the time. So when you went forward and you finished that main story, you weren't coming back. So you would miss out on a ton of content and have to restart. I distinctly remember watching the IGN reviews and seeing how they gave the game a 9 out of 10, but they said one of the drawbacks was that you couldn't continue playing after the ending. And I think that was fair. I think Bethesda Game Studios would agree as well, because after all of that feedback, they introduced Broken Steel and what happens, but now you can continue playing the game after the main story rolls, so you don't lose that singular save file. And that just gets into the phenomenal DLC that Fallout 3 has. There's ones like Operation Anchorage and Mothership Zeta that I'm a little less crazy about. Operation Anchorage is home to some of the game's best loot. You get the Chinese stealth suit. Meanwhile, Mothership Zeta is a absolutely fun time. You get things like the alien blaster, and it leans into all the alien Easter eggs that have been peppered throughout the entirety of the Fallout franchise. That stuff is very cool, but it really comes down to me, the pit and Point Lookout. The pit is vibes. Like, this place is so depressing. I love the color grading. I love the environmental design. I love how messed up this place is. Like, that is what speaks to me so much with Fallout. Just visiting locations and seeing how Bethesda or other developers have manipulated, twisted, warped these places that we know very well in America into something completely different always blows my mind. But then, as a lover of Fallout 3, because of its atmosphere that I've spoken so much about, I get to a place like Point Lookout, and it really is just kind of more Fallout 3, but I don't say that as an insult. I say that in a very good way. I love that Point Lookout is offering more of that atmosphere, more of that oppressiveness, more of these wacky, twisted stories. Like, the DLC in this game is phenomenal. But what I also love about Fallout 3 that I've only come to appreciate in these later years is how Bethesda very clearly intentionally sets up future content in the Fallout franchise through side content. Quests like the Replicated Man absolutely come to mind right away. Why is that? It is a side quest about synths, about who's who, and guess what? That is an entire setup for what's happening in the Commonwealth for Fallout 4. And that was a lot of the speculation leading to Fallout 4, and that may not resonate with you as much, but I have reason to believe that Fallout 4 has a very blatant West Coast New Vegas tease that then can connect to the TV show, which I think is inevitably setting up Fallout 5. And it's that which gets me to pay really close attention, because it's not just, oh, this is good stuff. It's, oh, they're cooking years and years in advance. They're putting out teasers, and with Fallout, part of the beauty is the unknown. As you're exploring this world, you're wondering what's going on in Pennsylvania, what's going on in Wyoming, what's going on in Texas. And so any sliver of lore that Bethesda puts out there, I just grasp onto, and I need to dig, see if there's any other supporting theories. I am not a theory crafter by any stroke of the imagination, but when it comes to Fallout, stop right there. Hold your horses. I'm there with you. We are theorizing together, my brothers and sisters. I absolutely love the lore in this series, and Fallout 3 is a big reason why. Because the lore just drives some really interesting locations. Fallout 3 is subtly a very creepy video game. You'll explore locations like, I think, the Red Rider Factory. That's one of my favorite spots in all of Fallout 3 because it's this place that was supposed to produce something so happy, and the stories attached to it through the letters and the notes make it very creepy. Going to Springvale Elementary School and thinking of, oh wow, kids used to roam this school hallway. Now this place has been destroyed and abandoned for years, and this is a place for raiders to camp out. And again, you read like the terminal logs, you read the notes, and you get a very different picture painted toward you. It is, I just think, like eye-opening lore. It's like, wow, what a rich and different world. Truly, it is one of those games that if you look at my Mr. Matty channel, I've re-reviewed Fallout 3 a number of times. And I think it's because you get to this point where you love something so much that I go back and I watch those old pieces of content and I either find something new that I want to talk about again, or I sit down and go, I just feel like I can't find the words and it's just emotions at a certain point in time. And oftentimes, as you can tell by this video, it just ends up being a blending of the two. One of my most recent revisitings of Fallout 3 resulted in me going to a side location that was completely unmarked, finding a Mr. Handybot, activating a caretaker procedure, and him going to tell a bedtime story to an empty bed with two skeletons in it, which is clearly like the mom and the daughter, or the dad and the daughter, or dad and his son, or something like that. But a family was once here. And Bethesda Game Studios' environmental storytelling is at its most vibrant here in Fallout 3. I think of locations like that, which are just completely to the side. I also think of places like the Dunwich building, which is this horror story told across 6 holotape logs that again builds out into things like Fallout 4 with like the Dunwich borers and stuff. Like, it's, I just love how the lore is so interconnected, yet each game is independent. So if you're attached to one, you'll probably become attached to them all. And lastly, it's the respect factor for me. It really is. I know that sounds a little corny, and I'm not gonna lie, it is, but when I look at something like Fallout New Vegas, I love Fallout New Vegas, but I admire Fallout 3 because it built the framework to enable amazing video games like New Vegas. So there's that respect factor of like, yes, Obsidian did the hard work, but we would have never got that New Vegas without Fallout 3 and Bethesda's willingness to give up that whole tool set and just let Obsidian build content for a year and a half, and they made a superb Fallout game in turn. So yeah, if it wasn't clear, I adore Fallout. I especially adore Fallout 3. Ladies and gentlemen, I kick it your way. Are you as obsessed with Fallout as I am? I imagine if many of you have watched me for a while, you at least enjoy Fallout. When it comes to Fallout, I do become that pretentious dude where when someone goes, oh yeah, Fallout's kind of not for me, I go, what? How? How is that possible? Let me come here. Let me examine your brain. How is that possible? I'm just kidding. I'm not going to shame anybody, but like, I really encourage you, if you've not liked Fallout, if you've got that hatred against Bethesda Game Studios, go in with an open mind. Try these games out. They're so special, pardon the pun. They're so good. Please give them a chance. And again, let me know down below what you think. With that, take excellent care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next Retro Rebound. Peace out.